Strap in, you guys. We got the Future albums to review. 2 albums right now. We're going to kind of put them together, so to speak. So here we go. Future. His first album that he released this month or this year is self-titled, and he's an Atlanta rapper. And this album, the Future album, is his 5th album. It's been 1 year since his last album called Evil. And if you want to know our opinion of that album, we actually reviewed it before. Go back to our podcast from last year. You can hear what we think of that album. And you can actually go back to our podcast from 2015 for our review of the Dirty Sprite 2 album that he put out the year before that. And you even get a backstory of who Future is, because I don't want to do it again every time he puts out a record, because I see what he's doing. This album features production from DJ Khaled, 808 Mafia, and Metro Boomin, to name a few. And this album starts off with... I can't do it. I can't fucking do this. Let's get down to it. This album is pure trap trash.
It's garbage, terrible, horrible bullshit.
It's the same redundant bullshit Future's been doing on every album, so my opinion's going to be the exact same on every record. Why am I
so happy. I'm so happy. It's like, we're really going to talk about this for like 15 minutes?
No, that. Like, it's basically 17 tracks of monotonous hi-hats and Casio beats with lyrics about drugs, Lamborghinis, and other nonsense, all projected through heavy auto-tunes. And with no feature artists on this album, so there's like no hope for hearing any like rhymes of substance whatsoever. It's just like, oh, God. You know what people out there are saying right now? Jarrell is trap music. You know, it's not supposed to be like substance, and the music not supposed to be like intellectual enlightenment.
Then
when you
stop making it.
No, I get it. I get that. But we got to break it down more for people who don't understand, and hopefully this is the last time I have to explain this to you guys out there. Whether Future's talking about girls in the face, like on the song "I'm So Groovy," or other people's girls, like on the opening track "Rent Money," like some of the songs got some hard hitting beats. I will give him that. That you can bounce in the whip, but you can't honestly say that like after about 45 seconds into the song, it gets redundant. Even no matter how infectious the bars are, every song on this album is adequate at best as a snippet.
Yeah,
admit it. It's good. I'm good enough. And then it's just like, nope, I got 17 tracks of the same thing I want to say. 4 minutes long, maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. I got a lot of stuff to talk about, but nothing I'm going to really say that's even different from the past 5 albums and mixtapes that he puts out like continuously. Some tracks sound like exactly alike to the point where it's like they took the drum machine. It's got the same tempo. The drum machine is like for each song where it's like you just turn it down, or next song turn it back up, and then just put a different music over it, like slightly. Mark, I got more to say, but I don't want to just you say some stuff. This album, dude.
I hated it. I hate all of this. I went into it really expecting nothing and got nothing in return. It's like you said, it's like my feeling, and this and the other album, HNDRXX or whatever you want to call it. It's like literally like it's to me both albums should have been like they could have been one. They could have just been half an album. It could have been like a 10-track one album, a couple songs that all are a little different here and there, but like to be 2 albums, it literally is like, well, we pushed create a new track randomized like too many times, and I just mumbled over every one of them with this terrible auto-tune that has no sweetening done to it. It's just the raw, like whatever the computer wants to do with my pitch, like and let it do it.
Yeah.
It's like the most lazy garbage. And then they were like, oh, some of these are fast and some of these are slow. Well, just put all the fast ones on one CD and put all the slower ones on another CD, and there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you did it again, Future. Cha-ching.
Big money bags in like the producer's hand, handing it to him. Like, you might have hit right there. Like, no, what was up with the interludes on the first album? Like, it's like you're listening to it and like the song ends and you get like some hood ass like podcaster, radio host, like taking phone calls from like coon ass about and ratchet as well. Serves no purpose to like the album other than to glorify ignorance. And like all Future albums we reviewed, this one like continues to showcase his lazy minimalistic effort at making music. But the problem is like trap music is like at the peak of its trend. So it's easy for him to capitalize on it. Like even though he's been around for a while, it's not like he's just like, oh, trap music pop, I'll do that. But it's just like he realizes that, you know, it's popular, so it's like, why even try?
Yeah, I mean,
so it's like
trap music. Like, this style of music to me is like, if Future is the mainstream, like the guy at the top of this fucking pile of
yeah,
and you're like, oh man, like if there's like some gun coming up who loves trap music and they're like, I want to be like Future. Like if you listen to this fucking Future album and then you go get the album from the kid in their bedroom that fucking makes it in GarageBand and like is just like, I want to be like Future. Like it's the same fucking thing. There's no fucking difference.
Yeah,
you could do this at home in your fucking closet, right? You know, like you don't even. You could just read the fucking like phone book with like a auto tune on it and this fucking beat behind it, and it would be the same fucking album.
I know I'm laughing, but I'm so angry. This album wasted my life every time he does an album, and like you got all the other trap artists like, you know, him, Designer with the Panda song. You got Fetty Wap in our state right now. You got Meek Mill all doing this, and they're not even from Atlanta, and they're just like biting off this. It's like I don't get why all these hip hop artists like out there that are like actually making music that has substance, writing rhymes and working on it, and they're not even breaking the top 10, and you just half-assed it, and everyone's like hopping on the bandwagon. At least when other trap music artists do it, like, you know, Lil Wayne does trap music a little bit. 666 Mafia back in the day when they won a Grammy, you can say their music is kind of trappy, but there's like more to it. It's not just like, let me just take the simple basic part of my music and just do that the whole hour and a half of a record. Future, I can't stand this man.
Yeah, I think that's what that X-Files movie was about. It was about fighting the future.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm sorry
for the audience.
You get it. I know what he's doing. I see what you're doing, Future. You're putting out an album every year at first, and then now you're going to do 2 albums in 1 year. You're trying to get to me. You're trying to get me so pissed off that I just quit doing this whole, like, you know, profession of reviewing albums. You will not break me, Future. I will not stop doing what I'm doing. You want to pull out bullshit? I'm going to tell you this is awful. And this is the exact same thing. I will not be broken. You suck. You make me horrible music. I don't want to even give you any moral confidence whatsoever, any credibility. This is bullshit, and I'm gonna say this album is horrible. Mark, before we get to the next album, you want to give a rating on this album real quick?
I mean, you got me all worked up, but I mean, going into this, like I said, I
hated it, and you hated it when you come out of it.
I hated it, and I mean, to me, I was just gonna say skip this because it made me mad. Like, but I knew that it was gonna be garbage, so it didn't make me as mad as you. Like, you seem like
I'm furious that he's doing this every year. This now he's like, oh, put 2 albums at a time. So he's actually trying to break me. Not gonna happen, dude. You, Future. Go ahead.
I said skip this.
Skip this. All right. So he said skip this, and then with the first album, and so I only could assume that the next album that Mark mentioned earlier, Hendrix, which is released a week after, trying to do this whole like Guns N' Roses thing, would be equally drudging up my suicidal thoughts. But surprise, surprise, Future attempts to add some like R&B to his sound on the second album. So I'm like, oh my god, this guy actually, can do different things. I thought he was gonna do the same thing. And album has some guest artists like The Weeknd and Rihanna. So it appears I was wrong the whole time about Future. He's actually capable of making a record with some depth and conceptual like content. And so why are you laughing at me? I'm being serious. He's actually making some deep things, but unfortunately, when he tries to croon over like romantic tracks while still using his auto tunes, he sounds worse than T-Pain. Dare I say, he sounds like Fetty Wap, who he actually is influencing. In other words, the second album is horrible. Plus, the combination of like avant like soul with his babbling like misogynistic lyrics just doesn't mesh. It doesn't work. You said you kind of compared the two albums the same way.
Yeah.
You didn't notice a difference? You just said he slowed it down a bit?
It seemed slowed down and but the fucking like hi-hats were the same.
Mm-hmm.
It was just instead of like quantizing them to be like every 2 steps in the sequencer, it's like every 4 steps. So it was like instead of like it was like
okay, you figured out his like pattern, dude.
Literally you just it was garbage. This one pissed me off more because it was slower and it was like, it's actually longer too. It reminded me of it made me want to listen to Chris Brown to compare how better Chris Brown is at this kind of garbage music.
Yeah. He is true. It's very true. Like when it comes to R&B, an actual R&B artist is better than what he's doing. It's also jarring when like credible singers, like I mentioned before, The Weeknd open an already decent track. Mark said it's bad, but I said that the track when it opens is okay, and The Weeknd's and like Rihanna are kind of phoning it in, but it's like, all right, this is them phoning it in is better than what Future has done for the past like 8 years. And then Future's like, oh, I gotta come on with my verse, and he ruins it right away. Like songs like Damage and the song Fresh Air have that like trademark 90s R&B sound, but then in true Future fashion, the song runs its course after a minute.
Yeah, and he doesn't even try to like do anything different vocally. It's the same fucking auto-tune garbage tone like over these songs. And some of the songs on this, at least like you said, maybe it's a little different here and there. Like Fresh Air is a little different. Like there's a couple songs where I was like, this is at least a little something, and then it just gets ruined because he's just like, Ugh.
The album stays with the same like theme for like the most part. So like what me and him are saying, there's not much to say. My rating on this album is like compared to the self-titled album that we reviewed, like this one is a piece of shit that he managed to like brush some of the dirt off of. So it's like it's truly awful, but it's not as like offensively bland as the other albums he's done. I would give him credit for like exploring different styles, but apparently he doesn't have enough talent or skills or a decent enough voice to like, broaden his sound. He just can't do it. It's just not, you don't, I would say like Future, I think you should give a promise to your fans that you're going to stick to the same generic trap music sound that you've been doing for years. And I promise you that I'll continue to say how much you suck. In this album, I should say, congratulations, you can skip it. Mark, what do you think of Hendrix?
Oh, see, we're going like opposites on these.
Yeah, I know.
Because I hated this one way more because I expected something different. Like that first one, I was like, oh, because I read that this Hendrix one was like the R&B version, like the R&B album, and I was like, all right, like
I didn't read.
That first one was like, this is the same garbage that I have heard before, and it's terrible. This one, I was like, well, at least maybe that one will have some sort of substance. And like you said, oh yeah, there's The Weeknd and Rihanna on it. That's kind of cool. And it was terrible. It's garbage. It's. I'm not gonna get as angry as you. I don't think I do in general, unless I'm like driving and somebody does something stupid.
Yeah.
But I have to say this album. It was terrible. It's to me it was worse than the other one because it's like
he's bringing down the credible artist. At the same time.
And he's trying to do something different but like not trying at all. Like this one's different, guys, but I'm not changing anything about what I do. It's just like the slower song. Like I said, it literally was just like the slower cuts that they did. They fucking made 40 songs one night, and then we're like, we'll split them down the middle. Yeah, garbage. I say this album.
All right, you guys. So I'm sure, being that the fact that both albums debuted at #1 on the Billboard charts.
What?
America. You guys will have a lot to say in the comment section about like how we feel about it. So let us know in there. And also, you want to send a lengthy email because I know everybody in Atlanta right now and the whole southern states in this is like livid right now that we actually hate this that Future does. So send us your length of emails to our email address as well.
Yeah, future, more like the past.
Wish we had a rim shot for that one.